Boom. Mm-hmm. Good morning, dear Dharma friends. Is there sound? Yes, hooray. Well, that's going. Hello, friends on YouTube and Facebook. And glad you're here. And to my Zooming friends, good morning. It's Monday, August the 10th. August the 10th. Summer is passing. About a week from now, we're going to be completely overwhelmed by tomatoes. The zucchinis and cucumbers are in full attack right now. And the beans, the pole beans, are certainly being prolific. It's an amazing thing, this cycle of planting seeds and harvesting. I'm Robert Beatty. I'm coming to you from this beautiful little tough shed house in eastern Beaverton. This is your house. This is the house that was created by over 100 donations from this community, and I'm really grateful. It's quite different to come out into the stability and the quiet of this house. And it now is the same color as our main house. Jen and I painted it yesterday. So, it's a wonderful thing. Sheetrock will come in a couple of weeks. So I have a poem I stumbled across this morning I'd forgotten about. It's by Kim Stafford, who is the son of William Stafford, and a poet, artist, musician, human being extraordinaire on his own. This is called Champion the Enemy's Need. Ask about your enemy's wounds and scars. Seek his hidden cause of trouble. Feed your enemy's children. Learn their word for home. Repair their well. Learn their sorrow's history. Trace their lineage of the good. Ask them for a song. Make tea. Break bread. Ask your enemy's wounds. Ask about your enemy's wounds and scars. Seek her hidden cause of trouble. Feed your enemy's children. Learn their word for home. Repair their well. Learn their sorrow's history. Trace their lineage of the good. Ask them for a song. make tea, break bread. And in this time when so much seems to have gone insane, so much craziness, any of us that experienced instability in our childhood homes, which probably is all of us, most of us, can't help but be affected by instability in the country, in the world. It's some things that we rely upon for, well, at least that's stable. Now some of them are in question, even the very climate. So where should we take refuge? I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya. I just had a funny thought that we should have, we could have signed copies of my books for anyone who has perfect attendance. That would harken back to some perhaps bad memories. Let's not do that. I am really grateful for your presence here, and it really does affect my entire day to be with you now. So let's do that thing that humans have been doing for so long, thousands of years, imagine that. Let's stop and sit. Also, should you be wondering about that poem, I think Jim posted in the chat where you can find it. You'll also be able to find it in about an hour from now on robertbeatty.com, my newly improved website with a blog there. Very easy to find. So I'll be posting stuff there in the future. So please let us land. The body that touches the chair or the cushion. Contact. Awareness, that which knows, and contact. Notice the life in the hands and fingers. The life of the face. The breathing. This is the time in which we get to let go of everything. The plans for what needs to be done today, or the worries about the world. We get to let down. Each breath provides a home base, another opportunity to be rooted here in breathing in and out, on noticing the qualities of the breath. Which of course then makes the very nature of the wandering mind more apparent. with the gentleness of a butterfly landing on a flower. And with profound persistence. Let us abide in the present moment, in the sensations of breathing. And we watch the entirety of life manifesting in consciousness. This moment is like this. To bring your practice, your life, into perfect balance in any moment. This moment is like this. The mind is like this. Perhaps very quiet or very noisy. Perhaps concentrated or wild. Perhaps there's a pleasant mood, a mood of ease and the heart open in loving and compassion. Or perhaps there's a mood of tightness, anger, irritability, sadness. Noticing it exactly as it is. as we sit and allow the world to happen without our intervention, our nervous system calms down. In the stress management world, they call it normalization of bodily functions. Blood sugar will stabilize, blood pressure will normalize to some degree. In a way, it's like taking a glass or a cup of muddy water and shaking it. And then we let it settle down. What a relief to discover that it settles all by itself. And we practice with an underlying intention. I aspire to love and accept myself, exactly as I am in this moment. It is my intention that at least for this time that I sit here, I am receptive to and open to whatever is my life experience at the moment. If you were to open the door to what we call memory, which exists only in the present moment, as do all its contents, and to think back over your life, your lifetime, we could follow one thread, which would be the many difficult things that have happened. The challenges in getting born and being a toddler and living in your family of origin, and childhood illnesses, and in some cases family catastrophes. And then the long stream of losses, pets, friends, childhood itself. And this is a worthy litany of memories to visit, especially in some time of great love and quietness of mind, in order to bring peace to these old memories. In recognition of all this suffering, how could you be anything but self-loving and forgiving? There's another thread which is worthy of following, equally worthy, if not more. To reflect upon all the goodness that has come into your life. Sort of a gratitude practice to realize you were born with a pretty functional body. A person, a woman who in this lifetime played the role of mother, carried you for 9 months. You successfully were birthed. And then you were cared for. Someone provided your food and changed your diapers. And think back over some of the great happinesses, the successes. I remember at a time recently where I was working in the railroad in the Rocky Mountains, and I got word that I'd been accepted to McGill University, and the memory of dancing down the tracks and being ecstatic came to me again. Of course, it came and went, but it came. And in relationships, think about we tend to remember the endings of difficult relationships, but think about the beginnings. Think about the wonderful time with pets, or particular vacations, or precious relationships with mentors, with lovers. Think about the beauty of coming of spring. Many of us remember the difficult, dark sort of times easily. And it can become a practice to remember the really positive times. So we acknowledge the truths of this lifetime. Everything coming into being, going out of being, And thinking about your upcoming day, forming the intention to be mindful, to drive mindfully, to wash dishes mindfully, to bathe mindfully, to be on the phone mindfully, to fully embrace the polarities of this life, which will be occurring today as well. I invite you now to bring your awareness to your body where it presses into the chair. Contact. And allowing this awareness to come open in the hands and fingers. And then into the eyes, the actual tangible nature of the tissues of the eyes. And then forming the intention to let them open. And let them open. Make the effort to pull back the eyelids and seeing. In the reworking of my website, I gathered together some photos for Molly. And I think, have you got the one of me and Ruth, Jim?
Yes.
Let's see, does this change now?
Yes.
And then there's one more. This was about 2 years before she died. Very challenging time, but what a privilege that was. And then there's one more. There's me with Paige Cogger, who is of the lineage and teaches in Ashland. And then this one that I think is just priceless. This is about 6 months before Ruth died. We were having a nice time in the restaurant. Precious relationships come and go. So I feel pretty quiet this morning. I think, have something else. Here it is. Let me put this up for a moment by way of... Whoops, that's not it. Where'd it go? Uh-oh. I wish this acted predictably.
Always an adventure.
It is. What, have you got... Oh, there it is. Have you got it?
There it is.
Yes, you got a green background?
The green background.
Yay, okay. Look at the length of this thing. Jeez. So this has the upcoming groups with Kate Staples beginning Friday, August 14th. You can click these links and find your way in. You can find this, I believe, on the website. Candle Summers on first and third Sundays. And then fall classes, The Eightfold Path of the Buddha with yours truly, and Skillful Speech and NVC with Doyle, and Doug Pullen for Basics of Mindfulness. And then it keeps going. This is just amazing. There are, it just goes on and on. So, lots of things to do at PIMC. Let me get back out of here. And I think that's all the advertising I want to do this morning. I get tired of it. You do too, probably.
My Qigong workshop on Saturday.
This Saturday. Okay.
Yes. Please join me.
Thank you, Jim.
9 to 2.
So I would now like to invite you, as our custom, to one more thing. At 9 o'clock this morning, I'm not sure exactly how I will get to watch it because I don't have TV usually. On KPTV channel 12, well, I don't know what channel it is. KPTV in Portland, there will be a 3.5 minute interview with myself. Back about a week ago, the fellow came and we talked about the Dharma and broadcasting from the tent and so on. I'll be very curious what he created. A nice fellow. We had a good time together. And then there will be a link which I'll publish to my blog, and also there'll be several bits of information. I won't belabor it because I'm not exactly sure what they will be. So I now invite you. Do you have questions? A report on how this meditation was for you this morning, or anything else that's happening in your life?
Robert, it's David. I just posted in the chat the link to livestream KPTV.
Oh, good for you. Ha! How can you do that from the other side of the continent, David? I know. Thanks. Huh. I'm now in my about 10-minute window when the sun pours in here, and then it will get up into the trees for the rest of the day. It's kind of nice, bright.
Hey Robert, this is Lauren.
Hi, Lauren.
We've been a little spotty in our attendance, so I guess I don't get a signed book. I just wondered if you could comment on the image over your right shoulder. Maybe
Yeah.
quite stunning.
Yeah, he came into my life about 5 or 7 years ago. I was at Breitenbush, and Peter Moore, who is the CEO of Breitenbush, showed up with it in hand and said something like, "I've had this for 20 years, and I realized recently it's yours," and gave it to me. So that's its origin. It's lovely, though, isn't it? Yeah. Breitenbush is having a hard time. That's a big place to keep going. They are having private, people can go and stay there and do individual retreats. They're making sack lunches and things like that for meals, but there's one block downtown where Jennifer's hairdresser is, and we were passing by that there for that purpose, and in really downtown Northwest, 2/3 of the shops on that street are closed, gone, including a Starbucks. Gone. Quite something. Anicca.
Hi, it's Carol.
Hello, Carol.
Good morning. I just would like to say that I just really appreciate everyone there. all of you sharing your experience every morning and creating a stabilizing force. I feel like on Quadra, I feel a little bit insulated from things going on in the rest of the world. We've been very lucky. In BC, we've been very lucky. Our numbers have remained very low, although they are going up a little bit. I know my daughter in Montreal runs a restaurant with her husband, and they closed, of course, initially and tried to reopen, and then their cook ended up testing positive for COVID, so they've now reclosed. But really on Quadra, some of our biggest challenges are maybe their controversy is with people being concerned about tourists coming back. Of course, some people who have B&Bs are grateful to have the tourists come back. Other people, we have quite an older population, and so other people are concerned. And then there was concern about the ferries, that we had such big lineups and locals were having to wait for hours to get off the ferry or off and on the ferry, and so they gave priority loading, and but then that created more problems. So anyway, so these are some of the things that we're dealing with, but really quite normal when I hear and know about what's going on in the rest of the world. And even particularly you people in Portland, I find I have a lot of grief around that, and just how our world is changing so quickly because we all are interconnected, and things are not the same. So I try to have faith that things are going as they're meant to, and as they always have been, and especially in the moment. But doubt creeps in for sure. And I just wondered if you could speak a little bit about doubt. I try to have faith, but maybe just a few words about the antidote to doubt during those times.
I do have a couple of things to say about doubt, but before that, I'd like to share a little bit of my observation about Portland. What is shown in the national and international media is not true. Portland is not a city under siege. It never was. There was some bad violence, and there are crazy people here. There are violent men, mostly, or maybe exclusively, who've taken advantage of the situation, and I get waves of emotion as I think of this. Something really very beautiful is happening with the Black Lives Movement. And it's messy. But we've been in a case of amnesia and profound denial about the impacts of racism and systematic racism to this day. And the fact that we're waking up to it, there are millions of white people who are realizing, oh my goodness, I have lived a life of such ease and privilege that isn't shared with a vast number of people who happen to be black. And so there's something really very positive about what's happening in Portland. And it gets commandeered by the fringe elements. But the vast majority of people who've been participating in the demonstrations are us. And and the media makes its money by scaring us. That's its role. It can sell things then. So doubt. Doubt's an inevitable part of practice, and there's a kind of doubt which is incredibly healthy, which is I wonder if that's true. I read that, I heard that. Is that true? And the antidote for that is direct experience. So to deepen our practice. There's a doubt story I usually tell when asked about this. Many of you probably heard it. I was on retreat with Ruth Denison around that period where that picture was. That was 1984 or so. And the picture with Ruth was at the time of my Dharma transmission, when she said, continue teaching with my blessing. Anyway, I was there on one of those retreats, and she was up at the front talking, and all of a sudden I realized that she was a charlatan, and that I was in a cult again, and that I had lost my way, and my psychotherapy practice was based in Buddhist psychology, so my career was shot, and it was not a small thing. It was one of those when the floor drops out, horrible experiences. And what I wanted was to get out of there, and I sneaked out of the meditation hall. But how could I leave? Because at that point, Ruth and I were hanging around at night together and talking till 2 a.m. But I knew I had to get out. So I went for a long walk. And I was walking in the meadow at Brightonbush, and it occurred to me that the mind asked, so what would you say to a student in this circle? What would you ask? And I said, well, which of the 5 hindrances are present? And so I thought, well, desire. Yeah, there's desire. I want to get out of here. There's aversion. Yes, everything about Ruth Denison and these teachings is aversive to me. Everything. Restlessness, agitation, worry. Yes, it's fully blossoming. Sloth and torpor, not a sign of it. And then doubt. And it was like a non-category. Doubt. Doubt. And then a certain inkling started coming through. There was a little bit of awareness of doubt as doubt. And then all of a sudden that the dam sort of burst, and it was a realization, oh, this is a mental state. This is a hindrance, one of the hindrances. And then over the course of 20 minutes or half an hour, it unwound, and guess what came on its heels? Tremendous faith. Another whole level of the practice. The practice works even when I'm in that level of doubt. So the traditional antidote for doubt is, of course, mindfulness and awareness, presence, but also the company of good friends. So what we're doing right now, is the antidote for doubt. Because there's a movement of the collective in the direction of awakening, and we can climb back into that stream by being together as we are. Is that any help?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the clarity about information. And yes, and when you spoke earlier about gratitude, that was my thought, that I do have much gratitude for these mornings and this group over the last few months. So yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And doubt can come anytime.
Definitely trying to maintain that faith, and it helps having this group of supportive friends. Thank you.
There's an interesting thing about faith. Faith in the Dharma is different from faith in how do I say it? In the religion of my childhood, Catholicism, we had to have faith in a lot of things that there was no evidence for, that we had to believe. And there was a quality of, here's the belief, you must believe on this. You must really take this belief and rest yourself on it. And that's very unstable. And the faith the thing I like about faith with the Dharma is, here's my little eye drops. What will happen if I let go of this? Any idea? Question.
I'll drop.
It did. Let's try it again.
Yeah.
I could do this all day and it'll keep doing this. I have a lot of faith in gravity, whatever that is. I have a lot of faith that a certain action will result in this response. as we practice, we get more and more true faith in impermanence, unsatisfactoriness, and the emptiness of the self, in the Four Noble Truths on how suffering is caused. And it's not a belief, it's not something I will believe on. It's I have experienced it directly so many thousands of times or more. It will continue. There's a sharing from gravity. It's not a good. This is from Patricia. Gravity, it's not just a good idea, it's the law. That's funny. So we develop faith in the laws of the universe. And that's really unshakable then. I mean, I can't very well have an argument if you were to say, as people are saying crazy things these days, seemingly otherwise intelligent people are saying insane things. No, that's not going to drop. And how can we have an argument? It's like, how can you? So there.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing is the craziness of the it's being brought out in people. You know, the conspiracy people. That's it's a whole other challenge for me to help keep my balance and my center. So yes, practice.
Thank you.
Hi, Robert.
Stephanie.
Hi. Something you were saying with her just kind of clicked in me. Because you have this psychological background and Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
And something this weekend, I was hearing something. I have unmedicated ADHD, and it just is like my life. And then I heard something about how ADHD in women can make stuff hard. And then that sent me down this whole like reading and understanding. And then I was going down like the psych, whatever. And it was very helpful. And it made me feel like better that things that happen in my brain, like why it happens, and comforting. But then I kind of got overwhelmed in that world. And then I just kind of sat and read a sutta. And it was a sutta about being soggy or not soggy and how to be not soggy. And it was
soggy.
Just so much more, soggy. Like let yourself be overcome by your like the sensuality, or to not be soggy and you stay firm and you're not overpowered. And it just, that language just cut through everything, and I felt calm again. So just how it is really helpful, like Western psychology, but then Buddhism kind of is this other level and how they connect. Can you talk about how they connect for you? Like, where you let the psych go and where the Buddhism, I don't know what I'm trying to ask, but that's just kind of what I've been like working with. Like it does help to understand my brain in a certain level, but in another way, it is nice to just, relax into the practice. I don't know.
Do you have about 2 weeks? You pushed that button. That's.
I would love to hear all about it. Yes.
That's been my life's professional work, is bringing these two models together.
Yeah.
Flashback to time. Black was also white.
That's
he's on the couch. Yeah, he's talking about trash bags.
such a nice sound. I think I want to just say this, that when all is said and done, and all the theories and all the models of what happens in the brain and what happens biochemically, and when all that happens, and we can create incredible models of that, and good stuff can come out of it, at some point we wind up just being in ourself with the experience of this moment. And it is such a relief to say and act, I aspire to love and accept myself exactly as I am in this moment. And when I'm hurting, no matter how I'm hurting, it's my intention to hold myself in sweet compassion. And so you sit down with a racing mind, or a mind that's doing what your particular, that we're calling ADHD, does, and at least sometimes you can simply allow it to be exactly as it is and step out of the battle. And that is such a relief, as you know. And lots of feelings I can see. And you don't have a lot of time to do that, to just settle into your responses and not responses, and to let it all just kind of wind down, because you have this incredible gift and responsibility you're offering to a next generation. And one of my friends, one of our teachers at PIMC, Christine Howard, asked the abbot of Wat Pah Nanachat in Thailand something about, I forget what it was, but it was a question about what is it that parents offer their children, and wouldn't they be better off to be in the monastery practicing? And the monk had he's a lovely man, I know him otherwise. He had a beautiful answer, in which he said that parents do something really remarkable for their children. They pick them up and they hold them on their own shoulders, and then they lift them as high as they possibly can, so they get a good start into life of Dharma. I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. So there's a whole bodhisattva devotion to the well-being of all beings, and for the most part, my psychotherapy life has been helping people undo the trauma, not undo, but to come to terms with the trauma and the deficits of their own childhood. And of course, they are there. I mean, when my first child Luke was in utero, I asked my therapist, a man named Don Nickerson, I was saying, I don't know if I can be a good father. And he said, don't worry about it, Robert. One way or another, you're going to really screw up your kids. And it's true. And they're going to wind up wounded. And then there was the divorce. And I mean, all this stuff that my poor kids had to go through. And then they had something to work with in their life. They have some. And so, the little beautiful being behind you has a mom who sometimes has, quote, ADHD and isn't the, quote, perfect mom. And, well, that's what he has. And that's what you have. And you have your particular struggle with it. And we all have something.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So mercy. Have mercy, and I think the intellectual understanding is helpful. This is kind of by way of confession in a way. I've read a little bit of the modern brain research and meditation stuff, but mostly what my experience of it is, so what? People have known for thousands of years that you become more empathic and loving and kind if you meditate. And one can spend lots and lots of time reading books and going to workshops. But what about taking an hour a day to practice? And then, which I know you can't do most probably, but what about being mindful as much as you possibly can? That's all.
Yeah. Well, it is my practice that helps the most. So yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you very much.
My best attempt. Thanks. Well, here we are. It's time. Oh, my goodness, it's 8:05.
Hey, Robert. This is Had.
Hello, Hadley.
I must comment. I have had the profound opportunity of getting given a brain injury for 40 years now. I was in a bad auto accident and things happened to me. And I've struggled in many ways, and my encounter with the Dharma practice has put my life in balance with the cognitive deficits that I have now, with having a peaceful life. So I also want to thank Stephanie for raising that And the saying that as you know, I'm teaching mindfulness meditation to fellow survivors of brain injury. And there's a beautiful distinction of our psychology from our being. And I always assert our being is not broken,
Mm.
and that this practice opens a doorway to that being that is not broken, and to appreciate the mind that goes all over the place and it thinks it's damaged, etc. But
Beautiful.
it's not damaged, that the being is here whole and complete. And
Beautiful.
you can access that through this practice.
Thank you, Head.
So
That's
thank you for being
quite
a
lovely.
guide for me in discovering the profound practice here.
Okay, anybody sitting with something they would like to share or that wants to be shared?
Robert? Hello?
Hi.
Hi. I wanted to tell you that I was visiting with my mother, who's she'll be 95 in a couple of weeks, and
Phew.
she's lost her pretty much everything. She can't move now. She's been Parkinson's for many years, and she's probably at the end of her life, getting there, but it's very slow, and she's lucid. And I turned on your Sunday 10 a.m. meditation with her yesterday, and she has never experienced a meditation through with a real teacher. We've done little bits. My siblings and I have done little bits with her, and of course she's got the Catholic background, and so anyway, she got a certain amount of anxiety, and I was noticing that she grips her bed. She has like a vertigo, and after the meditation, her hand was off the bed and it was sitting on her chest, and so I just wanted to thank you for being who you are and doing what you do, and tell you that we had a lovely time yesterday, enjoying meditation together.
Thanks for that image. May she rest easily more and more often. I've never had vertigo, but I'm told it is horrendous. Ruth Dennison had attacks of vertigo, and she said they were as hard as anything else she ever dealt with in her life. Bad. Incidentally, if you've never read it, there's an incredible book of about Ruth called Dancing in the Dharma, written by, oh, come on now. I'm not going to try. She's actually a friend of mine, fellow teacher. And it's really a good read. Her life, she had an amazing life. Starting in kind of middle-class Germany, and then the war came along, and then horrible things happened to her, and then she came to the West and met Henry Dennison of the railway family, and then had this amazing life. Their house was the pass-through point for many of the Roshis that came from Japan. They would come and stay with them, and then they'd get integrated in, and Aldous Huxley and Alan Watts and Ram Dass, everybody gathered at their home. It was quite something. And in fact, the halo behind the Buddha at PIMC is made of beautiful little ceramic squares, and it's quite large, incredibly heavy. And Ruth made that as a table, and when she gave that to me, we were putting it on top of the van, tying it on top of the van to bring it home, and she said, "And darling, you should know that around that table sat Aldous Huxley and Alan Watts," and she named off this group of luminaries, "and they were all on acid, and I was their mama." So it has a luminous history, that tabletop. Okay, anybody else coming close to the witch hour? That's probably not a good thing to say for some reason. Have to clean up my vocabulary. I have nothing against witches. In fact, I have a couple of friends who are witches. Well, shall we head off into our day? Last call if there's anything sitting on a heart. So I want to say this before I go. To Stephanie and anyone else out there who's going to spend a lot of time taking care of children today. It's such a crucial and noble thing to do, to take care of small children. We totally depend upon our caregivers, and it forms our very character, our personality, particularly in the first couple or 3 years of life. Every action of the parent is of such importance, and inevitably we're flawed, and it's overwhelming. And so I thank you to all of those who ever took care of us, who helped launch us into this lifetime, who did their best, which is what we humans do, the best we are in the moment. So that said, let's sing our way out of here. I'm going to unmute all. Ready to go. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you, dear friends. Bye. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Oh, you silly.
Goodbye, friends on Facebook and YouTube.
Bye, Robert. Good day, all.
Goodbye.
Bye,
Oops.
Mary Kay.